There we go. All right. Welcome to our Proper Romance Live for Whispers of Shadowbrook House today. We have the amazing Rebecca Anderson with us, and we get to talk about this fun book. And if you're here, make sure you jump on and tell us in the comments. And if you have questions, we'll try and get to them too. You can pop those in the comments. And someone's going to win some fun signed prints of. They're from Sarah Eden's book. I can't remember exactly what they're called right now, but they look similar to this one. This isn't the. This is the
that one's mine. So cute, you guys, huh?
They're so fun. I love these prints. And a surprise arc of a book that's coming this fall. So make sure you're commenting and liking and all the things. And we'll get started talking to Rebecca. All right. Oh, hi, Mara. We have our first person. Yay.
Excellent.
Okay, what should we start with? Do you want to start with questions? Do you have stuff you want to?
Sure. No, let's just chat.
Let's just chat. Okay. What do we want to chat about?
Let's talk about books for spooky season.
Oh, good idea.
Because the leaves are falling, so it's a particularly time, right? It's time. Tomorrow's the last day of September.
It's crazy. It went so fast.
I know. I will admit that Halloween is my least favorite holiday.
Yes, mine too.
We have a party for Groundhog Day. I do not love Halloween, but I do love cozy season. And I'm all about fall. And apparently I really love creepy books these days. I do love a thriller. I do love a scary story, but apparently I'm into writing Gothic romances. So,
okay. Have you been reading any?
I have been. I've been reading some like classic Gothic romances and some classic Gothic novels. I kind of like to read in what I'm writing in or before I start writing, right? Because I kind of want to see like what kind of things people are going to expect from the story. And I mean, I was an English teacher. I know what the tropes are, but that just because, you know, it's the trope in Frankenstein or it's the trope in Northanger Abbey, those are very different books. So, yeah, I dabbled around and read a bunch of Gothics that were written a long time ago, but mostly what I'm reading has been set in Victorian England, which is great because that's what I've been writing as well.
Well, that's fun. I have not read a whole bunch of Gothic. I've read yours, both of yours that are Gothic, and I loved them both. I'm not sure, like, what else is considered Gothic. You said Secret Garden. I've read that.
Yeah, and part of that is because there's a ghost in a house kind of feeling, right? But there's also, in a Gothic novel, a lot of times you'll have a house or a building that acts as sort of both a prison and a protection. And so if you think about that in terms of Secret Garden, you know, you've got like Colin who can't leave and Mary who comes to be taken care of, right? Yeah. And then usually in a Gothic novel, you have an old man, a grandfather, or an uncle who is doing the kind of prison guarding. That turns creepy really fast. So, but you can find it, right, when you're reading. Other things that Gothics have are unexplainable and usually kind of magical or ghostly things that happen that, you know, creep out the characters. Frankenstein is a Gothic novel. It's also science fiction. It's also everything. Frankenstein is everything, right? But you have that kind of like, wait a minute, how do we explain what just happened here? And sometimes you can, and sometimes at the end of the story, it will do the explaining, and sometimes it won't. And that's really fun. And I do love an ambiguous ending. I try not to write ambiguous endings because I know not everybody likes them, but I love a story where you get to the end and you're like, wait a second, that wasn't 100% clear what just happened. And I love that because I feel like I'm still in the middle of a conversation with the author, but I know that's super frustrating. to a lot of people. So I don't really want to go there, when I'm writing, but I love to. There's a lot of things I love to read that I'm not going to write, So that's one of them.
Well, that works. So we're thinking like Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
Are probably
the Brontes were big Gothic fans. Yeah. Okay. And that idea of, and it has a lot to do with the house, right? And not always is it a house. Sometimes it's a castle. Sometimes it's a cave, but there's usually a structure, like a physical structure that the story takes place inside.
Yeah. Okay. I have read some Gothic novels then. A few. So that's
Excellent.
Fun. Yeah. Mara says Victoria Holt wrote Gothic romance, and I'm not familiar with her. Well,
put her on the Libby. Right? We all use the Libby. I love the Libby, you guys. I love a library. I love to listen to a novel on my phone, on my commute, while I'm doing dishes. It's my favorite.
It's so nice to listen in the car, or I listen while I work out a lot of times.
Oh, nice.
Makes the time go faster.
Yeah.
All right. Should we jump in with some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And remember, you can add more questions to the chat if you want. Do you have a favorite scene or moment in the book?
I will tell you my very, very favorite scene got edited out, and that happens. And you just kind of have to be okay with letting it go. So I'll set it up with that. But I love Madame Genevieve. And the scene where she's like in her room, flopped on her bed, and she speaks in her normal voice, I think is my very favorite, because she works pretty hard in her job to convince people that her life is one way. And then she just kind of lets it slip away and shows Pearl that that's not really what her life is like. And I think that a lot of people know that feeling. She's a fake, right? Not being a fake, but to have to put on a certain persona to perform your work, whatever. I taught high school for 10 years. I had to put on a really nice person persona, and I was not always feeling it. And then when I would go home and act like my own self, my poor husband, my poor kids, but that, but I do love Madame Genevieve. And I actually wasn't sure that Shadow Mountain would let me write a medium in my book, because that could be very creepy, right? Like, I could understand why someone would say, oh, I don't want to read a book with something like that going on in it, right? I totally understand.
There are people that say, I don't want anything with magic. I don't want anything with mediums.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I totally understand. I'm so not opposed to the way that people draw their lines. And for me, the point of her was more like a psychiatrist, right? Like a psychologist, like a therapist. But she had to package it in a way that would be believable to the people that she was serving.
Yeah.
And also, I just kind of love the idea of somebody who goes around pretending to do magic, and talk to the dead. And I think it's fun.
She was a fun character. She was a fun character in this. I guess so.
I also loved. Oh, sorry, Kath. Go ahead.
No, go. I want to hear what else you like.
I loved writing the scene where Pearl and Oliver first meet.
That was a fun scene.
Like, he's like, oh, I remember this part of the house where I used to play when I was a kid. And he like pushes open a false door in the wall, and she like tumbles out and clutches him, and that was a super fun scene to write. And sometimes when you're writing, it's just like fingers on keyboards, one letter at a time, and sweat is pouring and teeth are grinding. And sometimes it just flows. And that scene was a really fun, flowy scene.
That scene was just a lot of fun. I loved that. How they met was so cute. Someone asked if Beauty and the Beast would be a Gothic romance.
Totally, absolutely. And probably in any of its forms, right? Because we've all done Beauty and the Beast in lots of different forms. The easiest one to access, obviously, is the Disney cartoon, because it's such the beautiful whatever. Everything is so great. And the interesting thing about that is that the castle being both protection and prison, right? But the evil guy who's pulling the strings in the Disney cartoon is Gaston. And he doesn't put her there, but she does go there because of him. Right. And tries to find her father and, all of that kind of stuff. And having the evil kind of bad guy that's pulling the strings also consider himself the love interest is a super common Gothic trope, which is so gross, right? That's really creepy, but really common.
Right. It is common. Right. Yeah.
Also, did you guys see that funny, there was like a little meme that had the lady in the Provincial Life song that says, "I need 6 eggs. That's too expensive." You know that lady? And it's like the reason that her eggs are too expensive is because Gaston eats 5 dozen eggs every morning.
That's right. That's right. Either that or she lives now, or a few months ago when they were so expensive.
I know. Supply and demand, man. It's real.
It's all Gaston's fault. We'll blame it all on him.
We can.
Good. All right. Someone else says, I didn't write down who asked any of these questions this time. Sometimes I do. So sorry, people.
Oh, yeah. And if it was you, you can tell us.
Yeah.
I can't actually see the chat. It's way too small in my screen, but.
Oh, is it? For me, it's on the side.
Oh, it's just under your face.
Yeah, I see that too. There's one there
Maybe,
too.
You know what? I might be in a different chat. Oh, there it is, you guys. I just have to push the right button. Hi, everyone.
That's fun. There's so many comments over there. So someone said, I'm loving the characters in this book. What part of the book did you struggle with the most?
I love the character part, and I feel like the character part comes pretty easily. What does the character need and what do they want and how do they relate to each other? How do they talk to each other? I feel like really good about, dialogue and whatever. But when it comes to a story that has a sort of ghosty feel, I was a little worried about how I would pull off a plot that was 80% romance, 20% Gothic. Because it's a romance. I mean, it has the proper romance seal on it. We know what's going to happen in the end.
Right.
But now that we've lived in the house for all these pages, how do we really let go of the things or how do we work past the things that we don't understand? And so I was worried about, I don't know, making it both believable and fulfilling as a romance and believable and fulfilling as a ghosty, spooky family history, kind of story.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job. It worked.
Thanks.
The whole thing worked. I loved it. Oh.
Okay, I'm sliding through some of these comments, you guys. Oh, thank you. You guys are saying nice things to me. Okay, another character that I loved, and actually, one of the characters I had to edit out was going to be the love interest for Nanette the bookseller.
Oh.
And I was super excited about bringing them back together for a romance, of their own. But I love the bookseller, you guys. She was making a life for herself, and you kind of couldn't imagine that. I don't know, what the rest of her life is like, because Pearl only knows her in the bookshop. And I had to take out a couple of the scenes where we go back to her, just, to keep it compacted and tightened up and stuff. But I got pretty excited about putting her as a main character because she has already built her own life. And I didn't say in the story how old she is, but she owns a business and she's run it for a long time. And she's, she's not 19, she's not a debutante. And, and being in Victorian time and late Victorian, this was 1880. There were all kinds of different opportunities that women were able and allowed, to kind of try out. And so that was kind of fun to put so much thought into her character and where she would go after this story and outside the scope of this story. And so she's still sitting there, like a seed. So maybe,
honestly, I was hoping she would get a story because She was
She's
pretty great
light,
in the
huh?
little bit she was there.
Yeah, I loved how she would talk about all of her Jane Austen fans who would come in, you know, and like, these women cannot get enough of the Jane Austen. And I was like, oh, you guys, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, all of us were like, we still do Jane.
I know, we love Miss Jane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of people are saying you could still write her story.
I could still write her story. So this novel takes place in the New Forest in kind of like South Central England. And I was able to go there. You guys, a year ago, I went to England. It's the first time I've ever been. And it was the greatest trip. My husband and I did like this. We just did a wander. And so we went to London, and for 5 days, we just wandered around London. And then we went to the Cotswolds, and for 5 days, we just wandered around the Cotswolds. We had a place to sleep every night, and that was kind of our only plan. And then we went to Cornwall on the West Coast, and I want to live there. It was amazing. My husband's like, you don't want to live there. Driving stressed you out. I'm like, no, I don't want to drive there. I want a bicycle with a basket, and I want to be an old lady who like rides a bike around and like goes to the market every day and buys groceries to make soup, you know? But on our way back, because we you know, went across the country, and then on our way back to London, we stayed in a hotel in the New Forest. And it was remarkable. I mean, everywhere we went was stunning, whether it was like the juxtaposition of old next to brand new in London. And we were like, our hotel window looked out on Big Ben and Parliament, and like the river was between us. We were 2 blocks away from Big Ben. And we had just this really great experience of being like right inside. And London is crazy because it's not like you have an old city and a new city. You have a cathedral next to a skyscraper, you know, and it's so cool. And then, you know, going into the Cotswolds, and there's sheep everywhere and fields, and everything was so beautiful and green, and it's like so easy to breathe there, right? And we went to like all these cool places where these ancient trees were growing and all this, and it was amazing. And, you know, to go to Cornwall and see the cliffs and walk along the cliffs and see, like, watch the tide come in, and these beautiful places. And to just like realize the world is so big and there is so much to explore. And that's something I love about reading books that take place in different parts of the world, because I want to see everything. I want to go everywhere. I can't go anywhere, right? I don't go places very often. It's like every 10 years I get a trip, you know? And so I love reading about places that I can't necessarily visit, but also that I can add to the list of places I'd like to see. So you guys can tell us in the chat what a really cool place. Wanda went to Cotswolds and Cornwall. It was so good, huh? I love that. Such cool. I mean, amazing. Amazing.
I need to go there still. It's on the list, right?
Yes.
The ever-growing list.
The ever-growing list, because we keep reading these great books where all these cool things happen. We want to get in on it.
Or we see all these great people and they leave their pictures all over Facebook and we go, oh, I need to go there too.
I know. I got to get me some of that. Absolutely.
Yep. Something Wanda said, the secret rooms were so fascinating. And as she said that, I remembered, as I was reading this book, the house is almost its own character in your book.
Yeah,
and like,
for sure.
So there are all the secret rooms, and it's almost like they were led from one room to the next by the house. And I
love that you got that from it. That, yeah,
I love that.
That was intentional, and I'm glad that it came across. I have very few extended family. Actually, that's not true. I have a huge extended family, but my original family of origin extended family, my dad has 1 brother and my mom's an only child. But now I have step everything's, right? And so I have a huge family, and it's amazing. But in my childhood, we had a pretty tight, small extended family. And my uncle lived in Boston, and he had this cool old house. And in my memory, it's enormous. In reality, it's probably not that big, but he did have a lot of kids. So maybe it really was enormous. But this cool old house, you know, like it has a name, and it has like wraparound porches, and it's sorry, the sun is trying to set in my window. And I'm not going to go away because you guys, there are very few days left that the sun is going to set this nicely through my window. Anyway, so my uncle's house was, it was one of those kind of East Coasty houses where lots of rooms and doors, like they had a parlor and a dining room and a little kitchen and a second kitchen and, you know, like a music room. And that was just all on the main floor, right? And then you go up these really cool stairs and then there's all the bedrooms and a bathroom, right? And then you go up another set of stairs and there's these just like small rooms that have part of the roof as their ceiling in the room, right? And so that was kind of like the base for Shadowbrook House. It didn't look like their house on the outside because I had a picture on the outside of these red bricks and they're like falling out of the walls and they're like, you know, there was a line in the book that I actually kept for every single what's that word? Edit, you know, revision, that's the one, that said something about teeth falling or bricks falling out of the walls, like old men's teeth falling out, right? I don't know. I said it better in the book, but just that idea of like things are crumbling and stuff. But like the bones of the house were of this house that I loved. And so then I would think about, okay, if I were inside this house, where would I find the servants' staircase? Or where would I find something that looks like a picture frame, but's really a door, right? And so those kind of ideas were so fun to, do you remember the scene with the mirrors, like a room full of mirrors? That was the kissy scene. Do you remember that? There was some kissing going on in this book. If you haven't read it, I'm going to spoil it. You guys, they kiss.
It's a kissing book.
It's a kissing book. But that idea of there were rooms upon rooms where they're just like storage. Like, what is all of this stuff for? And that Oliver has remembered what it used to look like and what it looks like now isn't necessarily the same. And, you know, just all of that kind of, the house is definitely hiding things, but the house also wants Oliver, Pearl, and Maxwell to find things.
Right.
So that was fun. I'm glad that you liked that.
Yeah. You know, Alexis said, I love that the house had a personality when he couldn't open the door and she did.
Oh my gosh. That was so funny, huh? And like, because when I originally wrote it, she really was talking to the house and just saying, will you let us in? And I was like, okay, that's fun. But what I need here is for her to be sassy, right? And so she just had to pretend that she was talking to the house. And so she's like, open up, please. And then he's like, he freaked out, right? And then when she had to explain how she did it, she kind of was like, did you really believe that? That's silly. But yeah, I thought that was a fun way to show her personality.
Yes.
And to let him be vulnerable a little bit, because one thing I love about a good romance is that the men aren't always perfect and strong and they don't do everything right all the time. I love a hero with vulnerability, and we can call it a flawed character. But I don't think vulnerability is a flaw. I think there are vulnerabilities that become flaws, right? But just the allowance to let her kind of have the upper hand for a minute once in a while is something that I love in a story and in my life.
I would agree. So Kira wonders if you went to the Globe Theatre in London.
I was outside the Globe Theatre. I did not go in.
It's pretty good.
I wish, because you know what was happening while we were there? David Tennant was playing Macbeth. I taught Macbeth for 10 years in high school. I love Macbeth. It's my favorite. And David Tennant is also my favorite, but there was no way we could have afforded that one. Those were pricey tickets.
Yeah. But they were, and that's okay. But you were outside of it. That's cool though.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, seriously, we're walking down the street and I'm like, see that building? That's the Globe. That's what it felt like to be in London. I'm like, do you see that building? That's St. Paul's. Like, it was amazing.
That's so cool.
I wish I could take all of you to London and we could all go together. Because even if you've already been, I mean, I was there for days. There's lots and lots I didn't see. I didn't even get in a car for 5 days. We just walked the city. We walked a lot. But there's so much there. It would be so fun for everybody who loves something in London to be able to show each other something that they love. But I mean,
That
come
would be
on. I live in
amazing.
Heber City, Utah, and I have things like that right here. So come to Heber and I'll show you the things I love here too.
There's some pretty great things in Heber, I have to say. I love it too. All right, let's see. Do you typically have a title in your head as you write the story, or does it come later?
I'm terrible at titles, you guys. This one was kind of a conversation, a discussion. But when Whispers came out, like the name Whispers, because I asked my siblings and I'm like, hey, help me name a house. So they helped me name Ashthorne Hall. And then they helped me name Shadowbrook. And when Whispers became part of the title, it kind of solidified how I wanted the ghost feeling to work. And to have the feeling of, okay, there's wind blowing through. I mean, both the houses had this, right? Ashthorne and Shadowbrook had this feeling of like wind blowing through and making atmosphere. But to have actual whispers that some people in the house can hear and understand and others couldn't, really, I think, ramped up the mystery for me as I was writing. It helped me get excited about who was going to see things and who wasn't, and who was kept in the dark and who had to, keep their secrets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I like it. Okay, so
Laura's going to London. Send us a
know.
postcard, Laura.
It'd be so fun to take like a big group trip to somewhere like that.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Everybody buy 10 books.
Yeah, right. Becca needs to sell a few more books to go back to London.
Oh, Becca needs to wait 10 more years, but it was so good.
What was the hardest part about writing the story? Did you already answer this?
I don't think so, but you guys, I revised and revised and revised. And I'm going to be careful how I say this because I don't want to give away trade secrets. But somebody from the publisher said, hey, try this. And so I did. And they were like, maybe that wasn't so good. Start over. And I did. And then they were like, we liked part of it. And so do it again. And I did. Right. And so there is something about my personality that I'm kind of grumpy about revisions until I actually do it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. Yeah. And I know that is super juvenile, but don't be surprised. I'm just kind of like that. That I am like, can't I be done? No.
I think everyone's kind of like that a little bit, right?
Right. And it was actually super good for me because I tend to get a little precious about things. Like, I love that sentence. I love that character. I love that place or that scene. And I had to go. And so it's good to like, even though I can still be kind of precious about like, I just want to hold on to this thing that I wrote that I loved. It's good to let it go. And I think when I consider like, would I ever write nonfiction? Because I've had some kind of cool things happen in my life. Would I ever want to write like a memoir or something? Letting things go is super important because nobody wants all the details, Right. And even in a story of your own life, there has to be like a throughway, and you have to have a string tying all of it, right? And so there are some of my great stories that I just wouldn't be able to tell. And so I'm getting better about letting things go. But do you guys know that feeling of just like, but it's mine and I like it and I want to hold on to it for whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's a hard one.
I totally know that feeling. Someone else, speaking of what you don't revisions, do you have an estimate for number of overhauls? Because you did mention in your
in the Facebook post
graphics. Yeah.
Okay. I'm terrible with numbers, but there was one 100% overwrite. Like, I got the first submission back and they said, try it again. The only things that stayed were the names Pearl, Oliver, and Shadowbrook. That was it.
Gosh.
I didn't even open the document. I just wrote it like I wrote a different story for Pearl and Oliver. And so that's 100% right there. And then 75% after that. And then probably about 30% after that. And then there are all the like proofreading times.
Right.
And those aren't overhauls. That's just sweeping, right? Like you just have to do that cleanup. And I'm super grateful for everybody who's like, oh, I found a typo in your stuff. Yes, show me, because I know what I think I said, right? I mean, once it's printed, I can't fix that, but somebody can. Maybe.
I think too, it seems like with the authors I've worked with, sometimes you know what you meant to say, and that's
Totally.
that's all you see, right? And if somebody else
we
can
have
come in and
all had that experience with our cell phones, right?
yes, all the
Like, did
time.
I seriously just hit send on that autocorrect to my mother, you know?
Yes. 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 Exactly.
And that,
So
just imagine
I can
that at
understand.
85,000 words.
Yeah, I can understand that one.
But again, like recognizing that every time I write a book, I'm learning lots of new things. And I'm pretty old to be feeling like I need to learn things, but I still need to learn all the things. And I'm super grateful that there's a whole team that's ready to help me like make the story better. Because there is something about like, I finished a book, I'm turning it in, I'm going to hand this over. And then them going, meh. But they didn't say, we hate it, go away. They said, we hate it, try again. So, you know, nobody said they hated it. 0 people said they hated it.
Right.
I'm misrepresenting all the nice people at my publisher.
Right. They wouldn't say that.
They would not say that.
I've met several of them. They wouldn't say that.
I know. They're good people.
And the last question on the list.
Okay, perfect.
Did any of the earlier versions have visible ghosts instead of just whispered voices?
Oh, good question. Not in this one. I have written a couple things like shorts with visible ghosts, but you guys, I'm actually kind of afraid of ghosts. Like there's a sweetness of about like spirits that stay. Like I'm all about that and I really believe in it. But there is something about the kid I was and the books that I read that I'm like, could I really like live with a ghosty ghost story for 2 years? Because that's about how long the process is, right? You draft for however long it takes to draft, and then you revise and you revise and you revise and you revise and you revise, and then you proof, and then, you know, all that thing. Could I like really do that? And I don't know if I could. It's like doing something short, sure.
Yeah.
But so none of the drafts of Shadowbrook had visible ghosts walking the halls, but all of them have the spirit of dead family. And I actually find a lot of comfort in that. Like a benign spirit is a super comforting thought to me in my life and in my stories.
Yeah, I would agree. I like that. All right, Alexis says, what's next? And yeah, we definitely need to know what's next.
Okay. I finished a draft of something last week, and I don't know if it's going anywhere, but I will tell you that it is a young adult rom-com with vampires.
Oh, you finished.
It is tentative. Well, I finished a draft. It's not finished, but I finished a draft.
You finished the
and
draft.
It is tentatively called, okay, remember they're vampires. This Family Curse Sucks. I don't know if anybody's going to want it, but it made me laugh writing it. And this has been a hard year in my life. And so anything that made me laugh, I really appreciate. And so there are some really hilarious scenes, and my vampire girl has a spectacular voice, and she wants to be graceful, and she's super klutzy. And then when she gets her vampire powers, she becomes really graceful. And so she wants to be an ice skater, except like her vampire powers don't necessarily work on the ice. And she falls in love with a hockey boy, because of course she falls in love with a hockey boy, because we're all in love with hockey boys right now, right?
Yep.
Anyway,
they're everywhere.
That is that's what I am vibing with right now. With the possibility, the main character in the vampire rom-com has cousins who all come into their family vampire powers at the same time. So there is in my head, and actually on paper, which never happens, an outline for a series. And I don't know if anybody wants to publish a YA vampire rom-com series, but we're going to find out.
You've got reader share on the side. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds fun to me.
It's totally silly, but I do not have a hang up about writing a book that's going to change someone's life. I would love to write a book that would change someone's life someday, but I don't have that kind of focus, right? I will write something that will give you a laugh and a sigh and a swoon, because that's what I need in my world, right?
Yeah,
I feel like life-changing books are, you got to dig really deep. And I'm maybe not in a place where I'm super ready to do a whole lot of digging.
Okay.
You know, I just got to keep my head above the water.
I think emotionally, there are most of us that read for an escape, right? You read to go somewhere that's not where you're at. That's not the problems of the world right now.
And let me swoon over a boy that I'm not doing his laundry, because I love my husband, but sometimes it's kind of fun to swoon over somebody else. Do you think he's going to watch this? What are the odds? You guys, 0% odds that he's going to watch this. But I'll tell you anyway, he's really great.
I met him once and he was super nice.
He is. He's a dear.
That's fun. Well, what do you think? We come to the end of our fun conversation for the day.
Yeah, thank you, friends. Thanks for coming to hang out and talk books.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to be entered in to win stuff.
That's right.
And not everybody was here when we started, right? So
no, so we'll leave the comments open until probably a couple days. At least a couple of days, maybe even Friday, before I get around to picking a winner. But you will win a, let's see, it's not exactly this, but you'll get a set of some of the art that goes with Sarah Eden's books. And they will
that one's mine, you guys.
This one's Becca's, so this is not the one
here with me.
But
that's Oliver and Pearl. Aren't they precious?
Aren't they so cute? It's hard to figure out where
I did not do that. Lest you think I had anything to do with that. All I did was say to the artist, "Oh my gosh, I love you. Try her hair up. Okay, put it back down." Really, that was it. She's so good.
I love that they're doing these. They're so fun. But you'll win a set of those of Sarah Eden's, the time slip ones, I believe. Oh,
I agree.
Shadow Mountain Publishing says that you're going to get Rebecca's print too that goes with this. So you'll get that and Sarah Eden's and a surprise arc from the fall. So make sure you're commenting and I will pick a winner probably Friday.
If it's so fun.
I will pick a winner this week sometime, probably Friday.
You guys, it's going to be October, like any minute. Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's so fast.
I'm manifesting a long fall. I grew up in the Midwest, and so we had falls that lasted, like 3 months. I'm manifesting a long fall this year. So if we get it, you can all thank me.
That's right. That's right. We'll take a long fall. They're beautiful.
Yes. Amazing.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca Anderson, for your book and for your chat. This has been so fun. And thanks to all of our people who have commented. And yeah, I think we're good.
And thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. And thanks to Shadow Mountain for making this happen. It's fun to visit with you guys.
It's so fun. These are fun book clubs. All right. Have a great
night.
Thanks,
everyone.
Thank you.